the reason is that you don't want to commit yourself to looking like a dumbass in two ways. That's why you don't want to answer the question, because either answer to the question is going to end up making you look like a dumbass.
Yeah, because you keep just making a claim without actually giving me
I
an
just
argument.
gave you the argument.
No, the claim was in the
Look,
argument.
I'll tell you what. You go back and listen to the replay, because I'm not going to engage with you and repeat it over and over and over.
Sure.
That's all you're doing is repeating something that doesn't even follow.
All you're doing is just saying that doesn't go through.
You're not even addressing the objections.
You didn't give an objection.
Of course we did.
I don't know why you keep saying we.
Khalilullah
Like,
did.
what are
I
you
did
appealing to him when you say
before
we?
him. Matt did it in his own way.
Are you
didn't
appealing to
address
him
any
when
of
you say
this.
we?
We representing Khalilullah, Matt, and I.
None of you have given an objection.
You didn't address any objections to the thing that I said earlier.
Yeah, because
Either.
I'm asking a more fundamental question that you guys have to answer to get to that question that you're asking.
That God was a mind.
Okay. This is okay. Let's get real fucking fundamental, Justin. What does it mean to have knowledge?
To know true propositions.
Being beliefs? Justified true beliefs?
Well, if you have knowledge, those would be justified true
What
beliefs.
makes a proposition true, Justin?
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
I'm sorry, quit talking, John. What makes a proposition true?
You're trying to impose JTB on God.
What makes a proposition true would be that its correspondence to reality.
Okay.
So what's the argument?
So what does God have to make propositions true? I say?
He has the potentiality to know all future events.
What justifies those beliefs?
You know that, right?
What justifies? God damn it.
What? His omniscience.
Omniscience of what at that time, I say.
Yeah, but the thing is that you guys are like, I just don't understand how he could be omniscient, and we're all sitting here like,
what I'm saying,
what's the logical contradiction?
What I'm trying to
and then instead of actually giving me an argument, you speak over me like you're doing right now, and then just ask more questions.
I'm sorry if I did.
This is all that's ever happened.
Look.
This is why
just because I'm busy doesn't mean I'm not listening to you, right? And I've given you the argument 3 times. Jeff, can you present the scenario back to this fucking moron? Maybe he'll understand it from you. I'm literally too busy, but I can't let these guys run amok.
No, I'm walking to that's why this conversation would never work. Grocery store, sorry.
You have not established why JTB applies to God.
Well, they don't understand simple concepts, so the debate would never work anyway.
So again, what is God omniscient of? What is he? What are the how does he justify any true beliefs? I say, how? What do we talk? What are we referring to?
He sees all true propositions.
Where do these propositions? Where does this propositional knowledge come
from?
You're thinking about it in a temporal sense, as if there is one point in time where there's a state of affairs where God has beliefs, and then another point in time where those state of affairs are justified, therefore making them
God doesn't have propositional.
That's not how it goes.
So check this out.
So your whole argument is based off of a false premise.
It is.
Now check this out. So when God, prior to creation,
Francesco,
hold on, prior to creation, anything but God, right? God,
I don't know what
made a decision to create. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay, so in that making of that decision, is that's a temporal notion. So at some point, you're just saying no, but that's not true.
No.
The fact is, in order to consider something must occur, and then something else must occur, right?
So
you can't consider something out of zero, right?
Yeah, just one sec. John concedes that knowledge is a justified true belief, right? It needs justification.
No, I do not.
Oh, what is knowledge?
Knowledge as it pertains to humans.
Okay, so you're just going to special plead. So unless you can give some account as to how God has a different account of knowledge, I'm just not interested. And if you bring it up again, I'm just going to move you down.
Am I bugging?
So what am
You
I
cut out, Jeff. Yeah.
what am I allowed to say right now?
You're not going to talk about it unless you can give some account.
Okay, then
Jeff,
we're
what did
just
you
not
say?
going to talk.
Oh, I wasn't sure if I was lagging. Sorry.
Answered. So I'm not moving forward.
Khalilullah.
Yes,
Hello.
Henry.
Yes, I have a question. You said you were an atheist for 12 years.
Correct.
So, and then you said that you don't want to waste your time basically talking to atheists because their points, I don't know what your reasoning was. You just said you didn't want to interact with them because it was a waste of time.
That's not what I said.
Is
That's
that
not what I said.
Okay, you basically said you don't want to talk to atheists. I assumed
That's not
the
what I
reason.
said at all.
Yeah, it was.
Would you like me to tell you what I said?
He
Okay.
talks to atheists all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I literally talk to atheists on a daily basis.
So then what was
So
that?
I mean, so what it was, if you were actually listening,
Oh my
was
God.
that I don't speak with atheists about why God does what he does because they don't believe that he exists. So we're going to
Okay.
talk about the existence of said being before we talk about why said being does certain things. It's
So
a
are
more
you?
fundamental. Oh, are you wanting me to finish or?
There was a pause. I thought you were done.
Yeah, so basically I'm saying is that it's pointless for me to talk to you about why this thing does what it does when you don't even believe that this thing exists. So I will have the fundamental conversation of the existence of the thing, and then once we get you to believe that that thing exists, then we can talk about why it does what it
This is
does.
just a way to escape the entailments of talking about your position. So nobody
And
should
you're
just
free to
talk to you.
believe
You're
that.
being as dumb as John right now.
I mean, you're free to believe that. And that doesn't bother me one bit.
That's your prerogative.
I just refuse to let atheists find these other arguments that they think they can get theists with that with granting all of these things for argument's sake. You know, I don't do any of that. I don't
Look,
let
that's
you
fine. If
grant
you
things
think
for argument's
if you
sake.
think you can escape the entailments of your view by just not talking about them and like stonewalling, that's fine. Do that.
Yeah, I don't do that, but I mean, I refuse to speak to people that don't have a proper understanding about certain
Okay,
things.
buddy.
To
Sure.
which, if you guys don't believe in God, then you don't have a proper
All
understanding.
right, bud.
But
All
there's
right,
not
cool.
really a lot offered in order to prove the existence of God. So how can you fault your
Well,
opponent, your debate opponent, on that?
that would be your
Plus,
subjective
there are
opinion.
internal
So,
critiques. You know, there can be a discussion with an internal critique. You know, those
yes.
are possible. And the
So,
point, the reason, just let me finish my thought. The reason I opened this topic is because you said you were an atheist for 12 years. And
yep.
then I was under the impression that you didn't want to talk to atheists, period, because they don't understand your state of, religion and
No.
everything. Okay, so
Not at
that's
all.
cleared up. And my point was basically that if you were an atheist for 12 years, then doesn't that give you a boatload of like understanding where atheists are coming
Yeah,
from to enrich
sure.
your argument against
I've been an
atheists,
atheist for
which you don't
Yeah.
want to
25
do?
years.
Hey, John.
If you really were an atheist?
Don't I correct theists on a daily
Of course.
basis? I mean, just the other day I was arguing with theists that were saying that atheists don't actually exist.
Okay. Well,
I
Like
argue
that's
God?
with
projection,
people.
in my
I
opinion.
I argue with people that make the claim that atheists don't believe in anything. I argue with people that make the claim that atheists believe that something can come from nothing. Like, I literally debate these facts with theists every single day in support of a proper understanding and a proper representation of what atheists do believe. At least the things that you guys agree on. Atheism is not a worldview. You can't just say atheism itself, the atheist worldview,
Look, I
especially
agree
because
with you.
people have different.
Any type of position on God isn't a worldview. I completely agree. That fucking stupid term is thrown around so often that it's retarded. I agree. You
Yeah.
being a Muslim isn't a fucking worldview. I'm not interested. I agree.
It's a position.
But everyone has a worldview. That's undeniable.
Yeah, but you just can't make hasty generalizations about someone based off of one position that they hold, claiming that it's a worldview.
Yeah,
That's
I
that's
agree.
what I would agree with.
Yeah, that's just one proposition.
Maybe Khalil has a answer to
Yeah,
this.
I mean, listen, I'm not here to say atheism is a
I'm
worldview.
sorry, Jeff just started
I'm not
talking. Did you
claiming
hear
it's a
him, John?
religion.
I just want to hear what Dr. Khalil had to say about this.
You might be on a phone call right now. You've got the little red phone button.
And that's the best Bond, by the way.
Yeah, I'm not.
I don't know who Khalil is, but that's the best Bond.
I'm not saying any of this is impossible, right? It's just based on our understanding of minds. There's like a big underdetermination issue. Underdetermination.
Yeah. But here's the thing I get a lot, Jeff. I come to these rooms. These rooms are like, I don't know if they're clickbait or what, but they're full of claims about this and about that. God does not exist. Whatever the case is, I come into the room and they're just full of questions. I mean, I do think that God is fake requires a justification for that claim. Trump is a
But this
fake
is a good reason.
Christian. I
This is a
think
good reason to be an
that's
atheist,
even
man.
a bigger question. I would like to explore. I would like to hear arguments. That one guy asked for an argument. Nobody gave him an argument
This is
whatsoever.
an argument. This is a good reason to be an atheist, right? Based on our logic and our knowledge of logic, if you want to say that obtains everywhere in reality.
But hold on, something being a good reason, isn't that subjective?
Yeah, of course. We're just talking about beliefs here. I'm not saying it like holds like absolutely. Like we could never know.
So God is either fake or he's not.
Oh boy. Yeah.
And if he is fake,
Well,
well, where's the proof of that?
disembodied minds either exist or they don't. You're right. You're right, John. That's correct.
I either have a PlayStation 6 or I don't. Like, what's your point?
So if God is either fake or not, and the claim is such that God is fake, well, then there should be evidence or proof or arguments to demonstrate that God is fake.
Well,
I've
give
heard
us something.
none.
Sorry, I keep doing that.
No, he's just going to keep
I was
making
gonna
the
say,
claim when he's been given arguments like
I
this
just,
morning. So
I just can't believe how this presuppositionalist, but arguments are taking over the internet for years now. Just what the hell happened to burden of proof?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of precept, but that's a
John
whole
isn't
different
a
What
big
the
argument.
hell
fan.
happened to to burden of proof? Like, prove that he is there. Give us
Yeah,
something to
atheism
disprove.
has a
Well,
burden of
no.
proof.
See, the
No.
problem is that well, yeah, they do, and I can prove to you why. Is
Okay.
that atheists have redefined what atheism means, right? And the reason for it was Anthony Flew in the late 70s,
1972.
early 80s.
Oh no, we're not doing
Wrote
this
a
like
paper called
new
the.
atheist YouTube
Oh, we're not
garbage.
CSC.
Yeah,
Exactly,
that's
exactly.
just
Are these
trash. Nobody
Atheists never
outliers?
want to go here. They never want to go here.
I'm not interested in Anthony Flew. No, we're not doing
Yeah,
that.
Maybe Henry
50-year
is. Maybe
anniversary.
Henry's
Is this an outlier? I don't want to hear about
Anthony
outliers.
Flew is an outlier in
Well,
Why
philosophy.
would I
nobody's
want to hear about
appealing to
that?
Anthony Flew,
Yep.
so no,
Yep.
we're not doing that.
Yep. So theism is the proposition that God exists. So atheism would not be a lack of belief because that's not a negation of the proposition.
Nobody's
If
arguing for
theism
lack
is
of
the
belief. You
belief
can
that God
stop that
exists, then
too.
God would understand
This
that.
isn't YouTube, Khalil.
Okay.
This isn't
Okay.
YouTube.
Cool. So then, yeah, so then you would speak for every atheist in this room, saying that everyone is making a positive claim that God
Yeah, I'm
does
making
not
that
exist,
claim, but
right?
hold on one second.
Perfect. All right. So then there's
I need you to just hold on, buddy.
okay, figured so.
Yeah, I think what he's saying is that he is personally making the claim. I don't know if he's speaking for other people.
Yeah, Darth. So when presented with the conception that God is subject to content internalism, which would subject him to Cartesian scenarios, what was your pushback, Khalil? What was you said? What was the
I
what?
haven't been given an argument.
Yeah, what was it
I
you
haven't been
said
given an
that?
argument that all minds are. I haven't been given an argument that all minds are susceptible to Cartesian
Well,
scenarios.
I already went
I'll
over it
wait
with
for that
you.
argument.
Maybe
I've been
Darth, you
waiting
want
for
to go over?
weeks.
I already fucking
The
pushed his
whole
shit in, so
part of
maybe you can get it through to him.
I've already done
the
the same
whole
thing with
the
Darth.
whole part
It's
of
pointless.
why am I being overtalked? The whole part about internalism is that you could have all the same beliefs without without there being any external world, right? So I don't understand like I don't see how you don't see the entailment from that like there would be nothing distinguishing God's beliefs if there were to be an external world from if he did have those same beliefs, but there'd be no external world, right? There's no difference in the mental content that he has, right? So, I mean, just saying that, again, just saying that he's omniscient doesn't tell me, like, in virtue of what, um, does he know that there is an external world or not? You're just claiming that he would know that because that's just a part of the definition of omniscience, right? Okay, who cares? Definitions don't inform me as to how God possesses that property of knowing all true propositions. Like, in virtue of what does he know all true propositions?
Yeah, so once again, we just got a whole bunch of rigmarole. What is the argument that states that it is? I mean, basically, you're saying, I don't see how you don't see that.
Oh my
And
gosh,
that's no different from a
we
theist.
understand.
Why am I being overspoken?
No, because you're just saying stuff
So,
that's nonsense.
but no, but
Don't-
wait. When you asked why you were being overspoken, I stopped. So now you do the same thing and be respectful. So you said, I just don't see how you don't see it. Well, that's no different from a theist saying, I just don't see how you don't see that God
Oh
exists.
my God,
Like, I mean,
you're not giving
that's not really interesting.
you're not giving me an account as to how he's justified in believing there is an external world. You're just laughing it off by just saying, "Oh, well, he just knows all true propositions. So if it's a true proposition that there is an external world, he would know it." But number one, you're not giving me an account as to how you know the proposition there is an external world is a true proposition. And number two, you're not giving me an account as to how he's justified, right? You're just defining it that way. Okay, fine. I don't care about definitions. I care about arguments.
Obviously.
Yeah, you haven't
Yeah.
given any
So,
arguments as
I
to
mean, I'm
why
not
Fuck
really going to
God
have
off.
a
Fuck
law
discussion with
off,
somebody who
John
doesn't
Lee.
care
Fuck
about
off. You're
definitions.
a piece of garbage, John Lee.
meta.
Here we go. Oceans.
Yeah, so the point being, Khalil, you haven't shown some kind of demarcation
I
that
haven't been
shows that
shown
it
that
doesn't
that
apply to God's
all
mind.
minds are susceptible.
Why are you over
I
talking
haven't
me?
been shown that all minds are susceptible to Cartesian scenarios.
Yeah, neither have
Oh
I.
wait,
I'm
How
waiting for the
is
argument.
Well, we
well, you were giving the argument.
no, I was given the claim
Not only
over
not
and
look, not
over,
only were
and
you given the argument, you were given the argument 4 times, and I'm not going to do
see,
it again
yeah, please don't, because you guys still haven't gotten anywhere.
because you're just going to hand wave it again,
No, it's not hand waving. I'm asking you for a more fundamental argument and justification for what your claim is, and you just reclaim it again.
just to say
So
God's
I'm
mind,
just
just
not
to
interested at that
like
point.
Darth said, just to say God's mind isn't subject. You're not showing any kind of demarcation.
If we are starting off with an omniscient God, and that's the thing in question, then you couldn't say that there's Cartesian scenarios that are true propositions that he doesn't know of. You
What does
just
it mean to
refuted
be
your own argument. It's
what is it?
self-refuting.
What does it
It's
mean?
undercutting.
What does it
And in the
mean?
fact
What does it
I
mean?
don't
Yeah, what does it mean to be omniscient?
to know all true propositions.
What does it mean for a proposition to be true?
But see, here's you asking more questions instead of just providing me the argument that I deserve for the claim that you make. And you just fail to do that.
Well,
It's
for a
just more
proposition,
questions. Deflect. Let's go over here and ask
I don't
these
know why
questions.
you're kill
Like, come
screening
on,
right now.
guys, this is sad.
I
It's
don't.
a
no,
reversal of the burden of
it's
proof for
just
their
you guys
premise.
Yeah.
claiming that certain things are analytically true when they're not.
What's the argument? More
You're just
silence.
saying that's logically impossible for God to not know a true proposition because that's just a part of the definition. But who cares, right? You're just telling me that God is a being such that if he has X property, he would know Y, right? But that's not telling me how he knows X and how that's related to Y, and that's not telling me how he's justified in believing in that X, right? You're just giving me a definition. And you understand that
Yeah.
definitions are circular, right? They don't tell you anything about anything, right? I could just tell you,
Yeah.
well, by definition, an omniscient God is a God that could be deceived about skeptical scenarios, right? Because I can define anything out of my ass, right? That just doesn't deal with an argument.
Well, that's what you did.
But
You
we
said
want,
God could be
can
deceived.
you shut up while I'm talking, you piece
Talk
of
about
garbage?
arbitrary definition. God could be deceived. That's what you're
Is
saying.
someone gonna,
Prove it.
John,
someone
you're
gonna
not
shut?
open.
Is
Look,
someone gonna?
just don't
Wow.
just don't open your mic again, John. Go ahead, Darth.
I mean, I'm done. I'm like, this is like the same thing I was experiencing with Josh yesterday. He just kept giving me the definition of what an intentional state was. He wasn't telling me like what the properties of that intentional state were. He wasn't telling me under what modality those counterfactuals of intentional states were true. Like, I don't give a shit if you can define things however you want, right? But we're obviously leading you to the pathway of saying for any mind that exists without an external world, right? It's vulnerable to skeptical scenarios if and only if under Cartesianism there'd be nothing that's logically entailed from there not being an external world, that you could have reliable beliefs, right? You could have unreliable beliefs without an external world. And if like Khalil wants to object, like he has to give an account as to how God has like, I don't know, like, well, in one sense, he needs like justification for his beliefs. If he doesn't think God has to justify his beliefs, then I mean, it's hard to see how that counts as knowledge, right? But second of all, even if he does give an account, like we could predict that it's just probably going to be something circular, right? That God reliably believes in any proposition P such that he reliably believes in that proposition P, something like that.
So I don't want to hear what's the argument again come out of Justin or John, right,
Yeah, I'm
Justin?
just not going to talk about it because you guys don't get it.
Oh, so this is just you dodging now.
No, this is me not interacting with people who are literally taking this half-witted, sad excuse for an internal critique.
It's not
That
an.
wasn't
I don't
addressing the
I
argument.
say.
concur.
John,
When
keep your
did we
mic
say that
muted.
was an internal
So that's not
critique?
addressing the argument, Justin.
That's not an internal. It's the argument is
Yeah,
not an internal
I
critique.
said I'm not going to address the argument. It's not an internal critique, so you're not asking me questions about my worldview.
No. When did we say we were? When is it?
Is God an omniscient mind? Can God justify his beliefs? Can this? Can that? I mean, come on, guys. Now you're just being dishonest.
Asking you questions about your view is wanting to, like, for you to give an account as to what the view
It's called an
actually
internal critique.
and how it explains it. But it doesn't have to be an internal critique. We aren't assuming that your view is true for the sake of argument.
You're starting off with an omniscient being and trying to see if he's omniscient. By making a claim that he can't be omniscient,
Defeater.
you've already stated that he
It's a
is.
defeater
Like,
of
it's dishonest.
omniscience. That's
It
we
doesn't
don't
defeat
start
anything.
off with the assumption that it's true that an omniscient being exists, right?
I don't think that's right. I think you do start with
When does the argument start off with that?
that. The minute that you start the conversation, you say you believe in an omniscient God.
No,
Yes. Okay,
look,
there
the
you go.
argument starts off with the conditional being if God exists, sans an external world, then Cartesian scenarios are logically possible, right?
How are you
That's the
defining God?
I don't know, an agent, an immaterial transcendent agent. That's how we're defining a god.
That's not how I define it.
Okay, great. Who cares?
So then basically you're just coming up with your own definitions and then making an argument to say, ha, we
Yeah,
win. It's sad.
It's a straw
external
man.
critique.
Yeah, it's an absolute straw man. So you're not arguing against my God. So
What?
have fun with it.
So you're saying that so probably by that line of reasoning, all external critiques are straw man from your view, right? If we come in with our own assumptions and we come in with our own like imported ideas into your view, you're saying that that's like a straw man.
No, not necessarily.
God
I'm
to
saying it's
me.
possible. And I believe in this situation it is. Because you just define God. I just asked you how you define God. And that's not how I define God.
Well, I mean, the only rebuttal I heard to the argument was that the skeptical scenarios are logically incoherent, but they're only logically incoherent insofar as, like, we assume that your definition of God is true, right? Which the argument isn't even doing.
Well, the first premise says if God exists, right? So it's a hypothetical, right?
It's a conditional statement. If this,
Okay.
that.
Yep. So if God exists, and you're speaking about my God, right?
No. Well, when did I
Okay. So then you're not.
when
Okay.
did
Cool.
I
So then you haven't
originate
debunked my worldview.
designator God? Why does it have to be like your specific type of God?
Well, I mean, then why would you have the conversation with me trying to say God does not exist, talking
Well,
to a theist when you
we're
know that
trying
they
to
don't believe
lead
in that type of
you.
God?
We're trying to lead you to the path. So the argument actually concludes that omniscience is impossible, right?
Yeah.
We're leading
But it
you to
starts off with if God
this.
exists. I'm trying to understand what you mean by God. If you're defining God in that way, then fine. You're just not defining the God that I believe in, so the argument really doesn't apply to me then.
Do you believe that the mind exists without an external world, and that mind is God?
We can deal with the first premise rather than deflecting to another question.
Yeah, we can, but it
Okay.
just appears that you.
So then I define God. If God exists, God being a mind that is not arbitrarily limited in any way, shape, or form, which would entail its omniscience and omnipotence, then yes, and mind internalism would be true. So now we have the basis in premise one that there's a God that is omnipotent, omniscient, and knows all true propositions, and mind internalism is true.
Yeah, because it's
Okay, where do you
not
go from there?
logically entailed from the fact that you have beliefs that there is an external
See,
world, right?
the argument only works when they come up with their own definition for God. There you go.
When their own definition of God. Okay, fine, buddy. I guess I guess there's like really nothing left to debate if like you say that that's a semantic fact about God, that he's omniscient, and omniscient means that he just necessarily knows all true propositions. And if I'm coming in with another definition, then obviously we can't like talk about this argument anymore, right? And
Correct. Yep.
I guess by that light, like you would only accept internal critiques then. You wouldn't accept external critiques against your view, right? Because all
Yep.
external critiques aren't going to assume the type of views you have about what God is or what omniscience is or what all the other properties he has are.
Yep.
Is that
I would
correct?
agree. Yep. I think
Oh,
that
so you
internal
don't take
critiques are the best
external
way to do
critiques
things.
seriously. There you
I don't know
go.
why I'm being overtalked. So I don't know why you think that I only that I think that external critiques are always a straw man. I never said that. I said it's possible that they are, but yeah, I would agree with you that I think that internal critiques are the best way to go about it.
Okay, I mean, if that's your preference, that's fine. Like, obviously, like the preference that people have for what arguments they choose to reject or accept is relative. So,
Okay. I just know that with internal critiques, I'm not going to be misrepresented like I just was.
But I don't understand, like, what part of what he said do you disagree with?
he just thinks that.
If
Oh, go ahead.
I thought that was a question for me. So if God exists, He's already starting off with God not necessarily being unlimited in every sense. To which, if I'm going to get to God, God is the causal principle for all contingent things that is not arbitrarily limited in any way, shape, or form, which means that would already entail its omniscience. So if God exists, we're already talking about an omniscient being. So we're starting off with an omniscient being and then saying that there's certain scenarios that even though he knows all true propositions, there will be certain scenarios where he doesn't know all true propositions. The argument undercuts itself at that point.
I don't understand the argument undercuts itself, but let's leave that aside. I'm asking you, when you said that that was an inaccurate characterization of the God you believe in, What exactly was the inaccurate characterization?
That he wasn't defining it as something that's not something that's unlimited.
Yeah, but I'm asking because the argument that he's using has a series of properties, and he's saying the entailment of those properties is that this thing can't be all-knowing, right? So you either have to reject one of those premises in that argument, or you have, or I mean, I guess, or you have to point out an invalid inference that he made, right? Those are the ways of attacking that
Yeah,
argument. So
yeah.
he gave
All
a list
minds
of
are
sorry,
susceptible to
sorry, hold on,
Cartesian
sorry,
scenarios.
stop over talking to me. So he gave a list of properties, right?
Yeah, he's still
And
talking the
then
same
you
way
said
again.
that that wasn't the way that you defined God, but the list of properties seemed consistent with the way almost everyone defines a God. So I'm not really sure which property you think he's predicating is inappropriate to predicate.
Yeah, so you're at the same point that they are. You're still not getting it because if we are to do an internal critique, which he says is not an
I'm
internal
asking
critique,
you a question.
so
Well, I don't know why you're
hold on.
dodging the question. He gave a
I'm not
series.
dodging the question. I'm telling you that you don't understand, and now you told me not to overspeak you, and then you start overspeaking
Yeah,
me.
because you're
The
dodging the
hypocrisy is
question. You're not
outstanding.
answering. Yeah, but I
No,
asked you
I
about
don't give a
properties.
shit what your justification for interrupting
Are
me
you
is. I really
asking? Are
don't.
you answering a question about
No,
properties? Because I'm
no,
asking
I'm
you a
not.
question
No,
about
I'm not.
properties.
I'm once again letting the
Right.
audience know
So you're
that you can
not. So
be
you're just
that you
dodging the
can be.
question then.
Okay, I'll
And
wait till
I'm
you're done.
interested. Yeah. Okay. So I'm not interested in you bloviating about some other thing. I'm interested in which properties that Darth predicated of a god you're saying your god doesn't have. That's what I'm interested in.
Yeah. So for the audience, we can add another atheist to the list of boneheads that don't understand this argument and don't
You're
understand what we're doing.
dodging
Thank you.
again. All right, why
Your
don't you just answer the question?
bio explains it all. I hate the staggering incompetence of my fellow atheists. Thank you
That's
so
godless.
much.
It's my girlfriend's kind of fucking moron.
I know who
Darth,
Godless is. I spoke to her. Yeah,
Darth, what were the definitions that? What
probably
was the
talking
definition
about
that you
you.
gave of God? What was the definition you gave about God? I don't remember exactly.
Oh, so you don't even remember what the definition is, yet you're
Stop
asking me what's different
talking.
about it?
Stop talking.
Fucking
Stop
great.
talking.
Look, Justin, he gave you a clear and like respectful question. Can you please just answer the question and stop?
But what would my answer be? Like what
Justin, are you going to
substance
kill
would the
screen
answer
the
be?
conversation or are you just going to answer?
Yeah. I'm gonna do whatever you think I'm doing right now. So he's asking me a question based on a definition that he doesn't even know what
Are
the
you going to
definition
answer his
is.
question?
Hence
He
why he
asked you
just
what your
had to ask
definition.
Darth.
Look, he asked you what
Yeah,
your
see, this is where
definition
you
of
guys
God
overtalk. You
is.
guys are cornered. You guys are done.
I just wanted to
Game
go through
over.
the properties one
Game
by
over.
one, and so I wanted to make sure I didn't
The
leave anything
properties that
out.
you don't
So
even know what they are.
I was
Yep.
asking Darth to recapitulate, so I didn't leave any of the properties out because I was going to go through the properties one by one,
Yeah.
right?
Well, why doesn't Darth answer then?
Yeah. Well, I just wanted. I'm hoping. I'm hoping he does. So, what was the definition that you gave, Darth?
I said that God was an immaterial, transcendent agent.
Okay. So, do you think that God is a material agent, or do you think that God is not an agent? Do you think that God is an agent? Do you think that God is material? Do you think that God is transcendent? What are the answers to those
Are
questions?
you really not? Is this what your hangup is?
Justin, quit kill screening and just say yes or no.
Oh my gosh. No, I'm not going to engage with stupid questions.
Do you think that God is material?
I'm not disagreeing with the attributes that he gave. I'm disagreeing with the attributes that he left out.
Well, it doesn't matter because the point is that it
See,
follows.
it doesn't
Well, it
matter.
actually
See, this
does
is
Yeah,
what
it
I'm
matter.
doesn't
done with
matter
you. You're
Of
done.
because
course it
You're
it
matters.
done.
doesn't matter. The reason it
Preacher
doesn't
Mike, you're
matter.
done.
Do you want to hear what
No,
an
I don't.
explanation
No,
for
I
why it
don't.
doesn't matter,
I
or do
have
you just want to
no
dick around? All
interest
right, yeah.
in hearing anything
So it's
else you
fine
have
that
to
you don't
say.
want to
You're done.
understand why. It's fine that you don't want to understand
It's
why you're
fine that you're
irrational.
done.
But I'll explain. I'll explain for the benefit of the room why you're irrational. So shut the fuck up while I
Oh,
explain why you're fucking irrational. All right. So the point is, Darth made an argument
bitch
based
ass
on those properties
bitch.
that knowledge is impossible for that type of entity. So if that's the case, then what he would have to show is that anything that has those properties can't be omniscient. So what he would have to do is reject one of the premises of Darth's argument. And it doesn't matter what these other properties that he's talking about are, they're just going to be fucking irrelevant because that would just be to deny or beg the question against Darth's argument. So I don't know what you're doing. If you're just going to beg the question, that's fine. Just say, I'm just going to beg the question and assume that God exists. That's fine.
Yeah, I love how I now have atheists in the back channel messaging me, telling me that they disagree with you and agree with me. This is
I don't
hilarious.
get, why would I give a shit about that?
Yep.
There's all sorts of
Why
morons.
would that matter?
Yeah, so are you going to refute his argument or
And
not?
No, I'm
why
gonna
don't they
wait.
just come up and debate the argument
Why
instead
I'm
of
don't,
gonna
just
yeah,
I'm
why
gonna
shouting?
don't,
wait.
who
I'm
are
gonna
these
wait for the
people,
argument.
right? Who are these people and why don't they come up to
So
debate us and see what
Hey,
which
we
hey,
think?
premise of
hey,
his argument do you
if you'd like
reject?
to
I don't
come up,
get it.
brother, if you'd like to come up,
Which
now
premise of
he's
his
muted.
argument do you reject? I don't get it.
I'm rejecting the
Wait,
fact
he
that
was
you guys don't answer
Josh.
any of
Maybe
the
somebody else
I'm
questions.
not
has the
interested in saying whether or
gumption
not you
to
reject
do
the
I'm
that.
not
conclusion,
interested in
right?
your
I understand
bullshit.
that you reject the conclusion. I'm asking
Give the
what
phone back
premise
to
you
your
deny.
girlfriend.
What premise do you deny?
Your girlfriend's better at this than you. Just give her the phone back.
What
Well,
premise
if
do
he
you
wants,
deny?
Josh, if he wants to defer to somebody else, who is it you want to bring up, Justin?
I'm not going to specifically say their name, but they're in the audience right now.
Why would
Why
I?
are you doing
Brother,
Well,
that,
if you want to
Justin?
come up,
ask
you
them
just
if
say,
they
hey,
want to
Why?
come
Just
up.
bring him up
you're free,
here.
you're free, you're free to raise your hand and come up and tell these guys why you think that they're wrong.
Is it you,
You
Tom?
said you agreed with me, so come on
Well,
up if you want to.
I just
Because
don't.
you,
Why don't you answer the question about what premise you deny?
Because I asked a more fundamental question that you guys keep evading, and I will not move forward until my question is answered.
Wait, I'm just
are you
I'm
clapping?
unclear here. Do you think all of the premises?
Yeah, you are. You're
Sorry,
very
I'm
unclear.
unclear on what exactly is. It seems like you're just not understanding the force of the objection. So I'm just trying to figure out your basic reasoning capacity here because this is actually baffling to me. Do you think all of the premises of Darth's argument could be true and the conclusion is false? In other words, is it invalid?
So I don't know what your dumbass didn't understand about I'm not answering questions until mine is answered.
So yeah, right. So you're just gonna evade. I don't understand.
Right.
Do you not think?
I
Do
mean,
you
that's
think
fine.
his?
You're evading
Do you
right now.
think his argument?
This
I
is
don't even
why
know
we
what
haven't
fucking
gone anywhere
question. I don't
because
even know what fucking question you asked me. You didn't even fucking ask me a question.
exactly.
You
So
didn't even
sit
fucking
down and
ask me
let
a
me
question.
speak
But
to
the
the
question I'm
guys.
asking you is his argument
Listen,
invalid or
listen,
not?
kid. Listen,
Is
kid.
his argument
We've been
invalid or
dis-
not?
I've been discussing this with
Is it,
Darth,
it's
and
a simple yes or no question. Is
I
his
don't
argument
answer.
invalid or not?
Dumbass, don't you understand? I said I'm not answering your questions.
Well, I don't.
How
Why?
many fucking times do I got to say it? Are you
Why?
retarded?
Why? That's what we're trying to
Why?
figure out. Why? Look,
God,
there's
you're
here.
such a
Let me just
child.
speculate about your fucking motives, right? Because there are two
Yeah.
ways. There
Just
are
give
two
the
ways to
phone back to
reject
your
an argument.
girlfriend.
The reason is that you don't want to commit yourself to looking like a dumbass in two ways. That's why you don't want to answer the question because either
No,
answer
no.
to the question is going to end up making you look like a dumbass. And let me explain why. Right? On the one hand, you say it's invalid. Well, then you have to point to an actual error in reasoning. But the fact is, yeah, that's right. Fucking run away, you fucking bitch.
Damn, he's dumb.
Atheists aren't the only ones who ask questions.
Why
Do
would
you
it?
want to
Why?
still man his position, John?
Well, I can defend my own view of my own God. Sure.
Do you agree with his position?
Khalilullah has a lot of different views as a Muslim
Just a
on
yes or no.
that,
Do
but
you agree with his position?
what position are you claiming?
Look, was there a problem in any of the premises that Darth Arianis
Well, I
gave?
think it's this aide guy or whatever his name is. Invite him up.
Okay. Ade, Ade.
I think it's Ade.
Yeah, I do agree with Justin when he said that what
Are you
Darth
the mole,
represented
Ade?
was accurate, but
I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
think
I don't
we're.
know
about
why
him.
someone is. Why did you invite me up? What's the
Well,
problem?
because
Was it you or was it
there
someone
was
I
else?
someone in
think
the
he was just
audience that
bluffing,
was
honestly.
white knighting Khalil, and I guess someone thought it was you, but
He's
apologies if it
probably
wasn't.
was lying, you know? This is what
Or
they
like,
do.
is it? Are you asking if I'm the person who was referring to when he said someone agreed with him on something?
Yeah, was that you?
Oh, no, no, it wasn't
Oh, it
me,
wasn't you.
definitely.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Thank you.
Although I agree with his arguments right now,
Wait.
but it wasn't me. We've not had the
Hmm.
conversation. I think,
Interesting.
yeah, I do think I see. Well, sorry, 1 second.
He was just bluffing. There was nobody in the audience that was supporting him.
Come on, don't be shy. If it was you, you can say it in the back channel.
Why would he bluff Delano?
Why would he not answer any of the questions Josh was asking?
Oh, that's Josh right there, Mr. Third Reich. That's him.
Wait a minute, Ada, you put in the room chat, Khalil, please check your back channel. Sure, it wasn't you. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, yeah, I'm here now.
It
I'm here
was
now.
you. It was you who back channeled
It
Khalil.
wasn't me.
What? Then why'd you say
I'm
check your back channel?
because I do want to talk to him about it because I agreed with him, and I can tell you why I agreed with right now. Why would I deny it
No,
and
I don't
then
want to know why
accept it?
you
Oh yeah, it
agree.
really
What
doesn't
what
matter.
premise of the argument Darth Arianis gave don't you agree with?
No, that's. I feel like that's exactly the point. The argument that gave, I think, is accurate. But I think the point you guys are missing from what he's saying is that if you are just talking about a mind, right, that argument works for a mind, and I agree. But the problem here is that how he got to his own ultimate mind involved an argument for an all powerful a mind without limitation. That was already how, like, the arguments that got him to believing that a God exists. For him, a God necessarily means that mind. And it's not just him defining it as that, it's that he has an argument that leads him to believe that there is a necessary mind in the
Yeah,
universe,
but
an
who
ultimate
cares?
mind. He has an argument that grants him
Yeah,
that.
that's just
No, I'm just
a
saying,
question.
hold on. No, it's not. Listen. If he has an argument that grants him an ultimate mind, that means that argument already rules out what you are pointing to,
No, it
your
doesn't.
objection.
No, it does. Look,
Now, the only
the
what you can do.
argument in contention, what's in contention is in this argument is whether or not omniscience is impossible. If he just says that that argument is faulty because those scenarios don't apply to this mind that is omniscience, that is omniscient. When he says that he's omniscient, he's already presupposing that omniscience isn't impossible or like incoherent or susceptible to these scenarios, right? I don't know how else to put it. There's like two sets of videos of me on Clubhouse debates debating him on this. He just kept saying, well, this doesn't apply to God because God is defined within the category of knowing all true propositions. Okay, but that's just assuming that there's nothing incoherent or logically impossible for an entity to have that type of property to exist, right? That's why it begs the question.
Actually, let me tell you why I think. Let me tell you
No,
why I
no,
think.
no, no.
Let
You
me tell
know
you
that
why I
I'm
think.
fucking right. You
Li-
just want to argue with me, okay? You know that
would
I'm
you
right.
listen?
That
If
it
you
begs
think you
the
are
question.
fucking right, then why are we having a conversation? Why did you bring me up? What the fuck do you mean
Well,
you are fucking
I
right?
thought that you
Listen
were
to
Who
the
me.
was the
person.
person that Khalil? Who
Are
was the
you going to
person?
listen to me, or you want to assert that you are fucking?
Who was the
Well, no,
person
I'm
that?
sorry, I
I'm
just got
just
rid of that
fucking
guy.
right, like always.
There wasn't a person, Jack. He was just bluffing.
I think he's
Sounds like
Ade
multiple
wrote
people.
in the room chat, check your messages, and I think Khalil assumed the content of the message.
I mean, but it really doesn't matter if there is a person or not.
I just want to know why all these people are so fucking retarded. Is it just like the tap water that is like infected in like the state that they live in, or like I mean I don't understand.
I mean,
There's
I have
gotta
no
be
Yeah,
some
problem engaging with you.
I
The
physical.
don't
There's
think he
question
gotta
is
be
lives in the
whether
some
you
states
want to
though.
engage
physical
with me.
explanation for this.
They're drinking the still water, not the
Yeah, I mean,
flowing
I
water.
have no problem
Darth.
ever engaging with you, Darth. It's just a question of whether you're interested.
I don't think you have engaged with me before. I don't think